Ooh, catchy thumbnail, Chad. You sponsored by AutoZone? No, guys, I'm not sponsored by AutoZone, and I got a broken down car over here to prove it. I know what you're thinking, Chad. Why are you wearing AR 500 armor? Well, guys, guess what? That is for another video in the future, so if you want to see it, make sure you hit the subscribe button. Hey, what is up, guys? Welcome back to North Country Off-Grid. We are hanging out with the cows today. Doing the video, and here we might be the very first YouTube channel ever to see if a cow's horn can penetrate some AR 500 steel. Alright guys, if you haven't been living under a rock, clearly you know what's going on in the country right now. We got rioting, looting, setting stuff on fire, right? Total chaos taking place, and it is starting to spread to other places as well. Obviously, the spark that it took was a white man kneeling on a black man's neck, right? That white man happened to be law enforcement. I'm gonna take a horn here in a second. I'm standing in her hole where she sticks her head, and she doesn't agree with it. A couple of interesting topics, guys, some points I want to bring up to you. Lighting businesses on fire, the act of not just looting, but destroying property. Most people tend to not condone this kind of behavior. It's looked at as, you know, we're losing the message when we don't continue to protest. But I want to give you guys this line of thinking. I'm not playing devil's advocate. I'm sort of giving you what the other side of my brain thinks in a time like this, because nobody likes the devil's advocate. So in an event, guys, such as the one you see, you are essentially going to war with another party. One party is going to war with the next. So the black community, and I won't just label it as the black community, because I think that while the media is sort of painting it as a black-white issue, I don't know anyone who agrees with the actions of this officer, no matter the color. So let's just call this what it is, guys. It is the authorities versus the people, right? And that authority goes all the way up to everything we've been seeing the last few months. Every suit and politician that we have in this country trying to tell us that our rights don't matter, suspending the Constitution, suspending the Bill of Rights. And we, the people, have had it, right? So we're seeing that now. And that's just after a couple months of being told what to do. So here we are, guys, basically in the middle of a civil war, the beginning of a possible civil war, right? An us versus them here at home, revolutionary war. It really doesn't matter what we call it, but understanding the concept of destroying everything. If you are at war with the system, and protesting has always been the recourse, going to the courts has always been the recourse, and none of that stuff has ever elicited change, why would you continue to play those same games? Why would you continue to go through those routes? We know the court systems are corrupt. Don't do it, cow. We know that as you get higher and higher on the politician scale, we don't see justice anymore, right? Those people are untouchable. We watch our most elite in this country do whatever they want, while you and I, the little guy, we get a speeding ticket, right? We might get drug out of the car and, you know, someone kneels on our neck. So when we start at the bottom, where you and I are, and we go to the top, as you climb, we see special privileges, we see impunity, we see people who don't adhere to the same laws and rules. They seem to be exempt from those laws and rules, which legally they should not be, right? So if that's what we're trying to change, if that whole political structure is trying to change, why are we getting mad at people for destroying it? Why are we getting upset when people light businesses on fire? Why are we getting upset when people are trying to spark a revolution to change it? And what is happening here is we see that violence and then we say, oh no, this isn't the right way of going about it. Guys, the right way of going about it does not work. It does not work in this country. People are tired of it. We're tired of watching cops kill people and then just walk because they were given a gun and a badge. It's not fair. It's not right, right? And if we continue to allow it, which we seem to do in the court systems, when we continue to allow it, nothing changes. But one thing that will change is complete destruction. If we completely destroy the system, if the system is completely destroyed and authority is completely gone, there's your revolution to then rebuild it in the way that you want. When we're talking about revolution, if we want to continue down that same course of action where we are asking for our freedoms, where we are asking for our rights, where we are slowly watching governments just go ahead and write in that our rights don't count and they have authority over us, why are we going to continue down that course, right? We are Americans, we are free men, we are built on revolution and violence in this country. Why are we asking to be free, even still, by people who are laughing at us from the top, saying, we'll give you a little bit of freedom and that's it. Yet they're slowly stripping away our freedom, trying to tell natural men and women what to do. We were all born into this world. We have this thing called a political system that controls us from day one. And I guess if we want to continue to see that, then we should continue to handle these situations the same. Does anybody want all-out war? Yeah, I'm sure some people do want all-out war. Is all-out war in this country going to be ugly? Yeah, absolutely. Are a lot of people going to lose their lives? Yeah, absolutely. Is it going to fix the problem we have in this country? It very well could. It absolutely very well could. If the people have had enough and they're rising up and they're burning everything down, everything, no longer just to send a message because we want a cop arrested. If their motive now is, no, we're done with the entire system that was built, we're going to take it all down, then I guess you have to pick a side. Do we want to continue to wrap band-aids on the problem? Or do we actually want change? And are we going to continue to play the tit for tat where we ask for freedom? Or are we going to enforce freedom with violence if necessary? So I stand on both sides of this issue, guys. Obviously, I don't want to see private parties, innocent men and women. I don't want to see those people lose their businesses and their livelihoods. As you see the AutoZone get torched, a man loses his business and many employees have now lost their job, which means they've lost their ability to take care of and feed their families. Nobody wants to see that, right? That is a product of the action. That is a byproduct of the revolution. Do we want to see people lose their lives? No, we don't want to see people lose their lives. I don't want to see people lose their lives. I don't call for the loss of life of anybody. Do I want to see change in this country? Oh, absolutely. Come on, Lila. I want to see people be free. I want to be free. I want to be free to do what I want in my country while not negatively harming anybody. And I will not live under anyone's control. And as we see more and more control coming down the line, what does that leave us with, right? We either bend the knee or we push back. Now I understand the concept of completely destroying your enemy. If you looked at this as a fight, the back and forth of you kill one of us, we riot and take all the Target clothing, and then you arrest the officer, and then we stop rioting, and then the officer goes to jail, and the courts find him innocent, and then he comes out. That is the continued system that we keep seeing. We keep seeing it over and over where cops use their qualified immunity to take people's lives, and then they just walk. But then they get picked up by another police force somewhere else where they have been taught that their behavior was acceptable because they got away with it. Now, when we see a lack of justice, something needs to be done about it in the system, because the system is inherently broke when it's allowing these loopholes for certain people to take people's lives. It should be across the board. You don't get to take people's lives, or across the board that we take people's lives. We have to decide in this country, we all abide by the laws and the rules, or we don't abide by the laws and the rules, right? And those laws and rules cannot violate the rights of the individual. And that is the biggest distinction we need to make in this country, is that government cannot control us and take away our individual rights and freedoms for the greater good of society around us. With that being said, the back and forth, that's a sparring match, right? That is a sparring match between opponents. I knock you down, I back off, I let you get up, and we continue the fight. The burning it all down, the taking no prisoners, the destroying everything, the crushing the opponent, that is a street fight where you destroy your opponent to where they don't get back up so that you are safe. The longer and longer a street fight goes on, the more dangerous it becomes for both combatants. You've got outside parties who might step in. You might have a losing party who pulls a weapon. And what we're going to see, what we've seen now, is after 3 days, the National Guard is going to come in. So if your intention was to take out your enemy, you waited 3 days for them to call up a buddy, the National Guard, and now your enemy, your foe, is 4 times larger than they were. So what is your recourse? You now have to call in some more buddies as well. So I understand the mentality, guys. We're either in a sparring match or we're destroying our opponent. So I guess we got to sit back and watch. You know, a lot of people's natural instinct when they see a fight is to break it up. Some of us understand that when people fight, they should be allowed to fight to work out their differences. So we as society need to understand, A, we're going to sit back and we're going to watch it take place, and we're going to understand that there is going to be casualties. There is going to be violence. There is going to be destruction of property. But in the end, we might be free men standing here saying, hey, we beat the tyrants again, and now they've recognized our freedom. We've crushed our opposition. Or we need to stand back and say, hey guys, break it up, come on. Don't solve anything, just break it up. You know, it's getting violent, right? Do we accept the violence? Or do we continue to try and put band-aids on a broken system? Well, that is it for this video, guys. I'd like to hear your opinions down in the comments below. It is a touchy subject. It's something where we need to understand if we are on the verge of revolutionary war in this country. It's not pretty. It doesn't get to be pretty. War is not pretty. So sometimes you just got to bite down and swing. But tell me in the comments below where you guys stand on it. I know this is sort of a sensitive subject for a lot of people. Is it okay to destroy private property? Is it okay to destroy these businesses when you are waging your war?